My name is Bella. Currently, at my husband's request, I am working while also taking care of the house. Although it is difficult to do most of the housework, I take it easy where I can because my husband doesn't care about the details. Above all, when I do housework, I feel like I'm protecting the home where the man I married returns to. That's how I feel. However, I couldn't live such a wonderful married life. Hey, Bella. There's something I'm curious about. Can't you increase the amount of money you send me? Money? My husband Adam's mother, who is my mother-in-law, came to the apartment where Adam and I live and said that Adam's mother has been living alone since Adam's father passed away, but Adam says he wants to support her mother's life, so he sends her a fixed amount of money every month. The amount is $500 per month, but his mother has been asking him to increase it. I'm sorry, we need our own living expenses too. When I gently refused, my mother-in-law let out a big sigh in a contrived manner. I knew it. Daughters-in-law are always indifferent to their mothers-in-law. You must think I'm a nuisance, right? You probably don't want to send me money either. No, that's not true. I'm worried about my mother-in-law, who is lonely after losing her husband, too. However, this is a matter of money, and our life is not so wealthy that we can give her more than $500. So we can't increase the amount of money we send to her. No matter what you say, it's useless. I hate you just as much as you hate me, Bella. This feeling can't be changed. Huh? I didn't particularly dislike my mother-in-law, but it became complicated when I found out that she hated me for this kind of thing. In the end, my mother-in-law came to consult us about wanting to increase the amount of money we send her, and Adam also said, I want to support my mother more, but Anne was hesitant. At that moment, Adam looked at me, so my mother-in-law glared at me for a moment. Maybe she misunderstood that I was telling Adam not to send money and that's why the amount of money wasn't increasing. I originally had little to do with my mother-in-law, so I didn't know whether we were on good or bad terms, but I realized that our relationship was bad. In addition, I later realized that Adam's mother was more important to him than I was, his wife. Hey, Bella. I still want to increase my mother's allowance. Huh? Did you say that because your mother told you that? I think it's impossible to increase the amount from $500. We talked about it again after your mother left. But my mother is still living alone in her parents' house. Isn't that pitiful? Even if you say it's pitiful. So, why don't we increase the amount of allowance from $500 to $1,000? I was surprised by his words. The number of allowances of $500 was a number that he had arrived at after dividing the rent and living expenses with me and subtracting the amount of savings for the future. When we got married, Adam said, let's each take care of our own parents and not force our parents on each other. At that time, I began to think that Adam didn't want to take care of my parents. When Adam and I got married, we promised that we wouldn't live together with our parents and that we couldn't invite our parents to our home without the consent of our partner. So my parents have hardly ever come to the apartment. My mother-in-law had never come either, but I didn't hear anything about her recent visit. I think Adam must have been contacted by his mother, but he broke the promise he made when he got married. He made a rule and then broke it, and he intends to make me keep the rule while he breaks it. As evidence, he says he wants to increase the amount of money he sends to his mother from $500 to $1,000. If he is going to raise that $1,000, he will have to cut his living expenses or savings. In other words, he is relying on my income as his wife. I asked him that after I found out. How are you going to prepare $1,000 by yourself? It may be a little cold, but we promised each other when we got married not to cause trouble for each other's parents. There is nothing to say but that it is terrible that he broke that promise without apologizing. I have no choice but to ask Bella to give me the money. I'm barely making it with $500. Besides, isn't it strange that only I am giving money for my mother's support? I twisted my face. Who are you to say that's funny? He was the one who decided to take care of his own parents. When my mother broke her bones and it was difficult for my father to do the housework alone, I went home once. At that time, Adam said something stupid like, if you go home, the housework here will be neglected. Isn't that sacrificing my life for your parents? He hates being involved with my parents so much. That's why I haven't mentioned anything about the money he sends to his mother so far. And yet, he has no right to say that it's strange that only he pays for his mother's money suddenly. What are you talking about? You're the one who said when we got married that you would take care of your own parents. But now you're breaking that promise and asking me to help only your mother when your mother comes crying to you. That's different from what you said before. Well, I did promise that, but promises change over time, and I think it's better to think more flexibly. What is Adam saying? He doesn't seem to care about breaking his promise. I sighed in disbelief. Hey, you're sending $500 a month to your mother, but I'm not sending any money to my parents. If you tell me to give you $500 a month, I'll send it to my parents instead of sending it to my mother-in-law. Huh? Your parents are still healthy, aren't they? My mother-in-law comes all the way to our apartment, which is quite far away. Besides, my mother-in-law has money left by your father, a house, and seems to be working part-time, so she doesn't need any more money, does she? I thought I was saying something reasonable, but Adam looked at me as if he couldn't believe it. After being surprised for a while, Adam muttered, I didn't think you were such a heartless person. You're abandoning my mother. He said that to me. I'm not talking about abandoning my mother-in-law. Rather, since Adam has been neglecting my parents before I have, I'm just saying that I'll send money to my parents instead of sending it to my mother-in-law. After all, I kept my promise to take care of my own parents, but it's bad that he suddenly wants to break it. Besides, there was no way I could see that my mother-in-law was having trouble living to the point where she had to increase her support. Anyway, I can't increase the amount of money I send to my mother-in-law. We promised when we got married that we would take care of our own parents ourselves. If you break this, you'll have to do a lot of things for my parents from now on. Adam says that his parents should be taken care of by himself, but he doesn't even show up at my parents' house for events like Easter and Christmas every year. My parents may have seen Adam's face only when he came to greet them and at the wedding. Anyway, Adam avoids my parents. He avoids my parents so thoroughly that he has no right to complain if I do the same. When I firmly refused to increase the amount of money I sent to my mother-in-law, Adam fell silent for a while. I thought he realized that it was impossible to ask me to increase the amount of money, but Adam did something outrageous. One day when I came back from work, there were insurance documents and the cash card on the table. That day, I couldn't find my smartphone and memo pad since morning, but they were on the table. And there was Adam, smiling at them. What's this? When I looked at the insurance documents, it was the insurance I had contracted. It was about the cancellation procedure. It was as if he was checking the cancellation procedure one by one. I canceled your insurance. Now you don't have to pay extra money for insurance every month, right? What? I was confused. Then I took the cash card. This account is that Adam and I use jointly, and the name is Adams, but we save the same amount every month. I checked. And in the last column of the page of the account, it was written 0. All the savings we had done so far had disappeared. What is this? The savings are gone. Oh, I withdrew all of it and supported my mother. What? It's my money, so you don't have any complaints, right? Look, isn't the money of a married couple the husband's? I didn't say that. This money was something that you and I had been saving little by little for the future. But you suddenly gave it all to your mother. Do not be silly. When I got angry, he frowned. Hey, I didn't say anything stupid. My mother is in trouble, so I supported her. Now she won't ask for an increase in the amount of allowance, and you don't have to worry about my mother anymore. Even so, our savings, do you understand? We had $30,000 in savings. You gave it all to your mother all of a sudden. Don't mess around. As soon as he realized that I couldn't calm down, Adam began to get angry. Oh, I see. You don't care what happens to your husband's mother, do you? You don't care about my mother, who is living alone and lonely. I didn't say that, but it's definitely true that my mother-in-law doesn't need any more support. I've never heard of anyone who can't live without $30,000. It's just that he did things that a couple shouldn't do, such as giving her $30,000 of our savings for our future, canceling my insurance, and using the money I used for insurance for his mother from now on. For Adam, making his mother happy was more important than his promise to me. I was stunned. Anyway, the $30,000 I gave to my mother won't come back. So keep saving money properly. I'm going to give my mother a present when I save money again. What is this guy really saying? He tells me to work hard to save money, but he says that if I save money, he'll give all the money to his mother. He has no intention of saving money for our future. He doesn't even imagine building our own home or raising children. For him, his mother's life comes first, and our life together doesn't matter. I gave up. It's useless to ask anything of this person and my mother-in-law. Even if I ask my mother-in-law to return the money, she will say that it is the money her son gave her and that she has no obligation to return it if her son's wife asks. I understand. I won't expect anything from you anymore, I said and left home. I rushed to a law firm and consulted with them. Although I had been saving a fixed amount of money every month, he withdrew all of the couple's money and gave it to his mother-in-law. When I told them about it, they said, let's get half of the money back, as if he had embezzled the couple's money. I decided to proceed with the divorce and receive it as a property division. When I handed him the divorce papers, Adam said, "Divorce papers? Are you trying to threaten me? I'm not affected by such threats. Give up already." He seemed to think that I wouldn't divorce him for some reason and was full of confidence. I was amazed at Adam's attitude and wrote my name on the divorce papers after he did, saying, "I'll submit it to the office." Since the apartment was rented in Adam's name, I left the house with all the home appliances and belongings I bought myself. When Adam came back while I was packing the last of my things, he was surprised and said, "What?" But he couldn't stop me. I quickly sent my luggage to my parents' house and said, "Goodbye." Later, through a lawyer, I'll ask for a property division or repayment of the embezzled money, so pay up properly. He tried to stop me, but I didn't look back once. And then, a month after I returned to my parents' house, I learned from a neighbor in the apartment that Adam was going to work every day with a gloomy face. My ex-mother-in-law called me suddenly and said, "Hey, Bella, Adam said he would give me $1,000 from now on, but this month he didn't give me $1,000, let alone the usual $500. You must have done something, right? Did you tell him not to give me money?" "Huh? Who are you?" I asked. "What? What kind of language is that to use with your mother-in-law?" she replied. "I don't have a husband. I got divorced last month, and now I'm trying to get the embezzled money back through a lawyer, but Adam won't pay me and is hiding from me, so I'm thinking of consulting with his company soon." I told her a lot of information she didn't know, and she was surprised. "Wait. You got divorced? If you and Adam are divorced, why isn't he giving me $1,000? Until now, he could only give me $500 because you stopped him, right? Don't you know your son's financial situation? We split the rent and living expenses, and the remaining money Adam had after saving was $500. In other words, Adam ignored all of his pocket money and gave you all of it. Even so, you asked for $1,000. Adam can't pay anymore, so he naturally came to me for help, but when we got married, Adam promised me that he would take care of his parents himself, so I refused to help. Then Adam canceled my insurance, gave all the couple's joint savings to his mother, and did things that were impossible for a couple, so I divorced him. I didn't give her a chance to argue with me. She looked down on me, so I thought that if I gave her a chance, she would misunderstand and blame me for something that wasn't true. By explaining everything to her at once, she finally seemed to understand the situation she was in. Do I have to return half of the $30,000 I received? Yes, that's right. It's a hypothetical scenario if there's still some left. But even if there isn't, Adam will borrow money to pay me back. I was thinking of buying various things like clothes and going on a trip. If she was thinking of buying things, it means she hasn't spent all the money yet. Well, I don't think she can spend $30,000 in a month. It would be good if my former mother-in-law talks to Adam and pays me back. Then Adam and I don't have to deal with each other anymore. Bella, if you're there, I can get $1,000 a month, right? If you add your income, you can support me more, right? However, it seems that my former mother-in-law thinks she is an important person who can receive support. You are a stranger to me. Please don't borrow money from strangers, I said and hung up the phone. After that, I told Adam everything about the money with my former mother-in-law and asked him to pay me back from the $30,000. Adam started saying that his mother wouldn't pay him back. It seems that she thought it was better to get $30,000 now than to get $500 a month from now on. It was a situation where parents are parents and children are children. Adam shouted, "Pay back the $30,000, and my former mother-in-law said, "It's my money, so I won't pay it back." Eventually, they fought loudly until midnight and the police were called by the neighbors. It's too bad to make noise until midnight. Finally, my former mother-in-law was advised by a surprised police officer and tearfully gave Adam $15,000. It was just before I told his company about the situation that $15,000 was transferred. However, the relationship between my former mother-in-law and Adam, who were close, was broken by this incident. Adam couldn't pay the rent and living expenses we had been paying half and half, so he had to cancel the apartment and started living with his mother. However, it seems that they fight every day. They will never know why it turned out this way. As for me, I lived with my parents for a while and then moved to a new place. I'm enjoying living alone now. My father and mother said they were saving money for their retirement, so they didn't need any allowance for now. I thought it would be better to marry someone who doesn't get his hand on the couple's money without permission,